What's up, guys? DC19 your gaming tech, and basically this is going to be a late video on some people have already touched on this topic, talking about the basically the tablet controllers and where everyone's trying to lead to. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate. I'm going to explain why most of these guys are doing this, and one of the reasons is because I remember a long time ago I said, what other direction could new innovations take next gen gaming? Like, we've already done 3D, we've already tried virtual reality, and you know what I'm saying, like where else could it have went other than better graphics and a different way to implement how you play the game? We've already done motion controls. We've already done video camera kind of like controls where it picks up information, basically connect, and it's so realistic that like what other direction could it have went? But I mean, I know I'm gonna get a lot of fanboy hate and all sorts of stuff like, oh, Nintendo fanboy, But at times, I mean, like, fuck it, I don't care, yo. Sometimes the truth has to be said. Nintendo was the first to implement this controller. It's not like they were just like 2010. They were like, hey, this is what we got, boom, like, and that was it. Like, this thing has been in development for years. I don't know if a lot of you guys remember, but I think like 2006 when Nintendo announced the DS, and they were asking why the double screen, and they basically said that their ultimate goal is to have, I think Reggie said this, their ultimate goal was to have a DS-like experience in your home console. This was something that they implemented and stated for years. So if anything, they were the first that could be close to that. I even had some people say to me that Microsoft has been doing tablet. They've been trying to work on a tablet that they could implement with all this stuff for like almost 10 years now. But that's not the point. Microsoft has been a computer-based company for like the longest time, and basically that wasn't implemented for gaming. It was implemented for basically technology-wise for like business, consumer. Like, if anything, it was mainly back in the day used on inventory control, and that was mainly PDAs and all the other stuff. So saying all that stuff is kind of ridiculous and kind of like covering yourself. And I'm not attacking anybody when I say that, but I mean, again, Nintendo was the first to do it. They were the first to state it. Some people are unhappy with it, but let's get more into this really quick. So basically, Sony filed a patent in 2012, right here. I mean, 2010. My bad. Uh, Basically saying that they creating a Wii U-like controller for their next gen console, and they kind of attacked Nintendo when Nintendo announced the Wii U, when they were talking about the Vita, when they went ahead and implemented an update where you can use the Vita like a Wii U like controller. But they realized all the stuff that the Wii U controller could do, and they were like, no, this is not going to match up, so we have to do something for the next gen console. So it was kind of like a share shot fire, and then they realized how much more this controller could do, and then they were like, oh, fuck that, we have to do something like this. And the reason why they did this, I'll explain later. But let's go more into this. Basically, if you look at the figures here, this is almost exactly what the Wii U controller is going to be able to do. And if you go ahead and read it with the methods and all that, it's kind of like anything that Nintendo wasn't able to capitalize on and patent, because basically the rest of the world already has this patent, and they had to pay royalties to have, and Nintendo couldn't patent it as their own, like infrared and all the other stuff that they patent with their Wiimote and all that, and their motion controls and all that other stuff. They basically brought to their control, and Sony couldn't capitalize on that. So Microsoft and Sony basically did the same thing and added new things to it. Like I've always said, they took something and they innovated and made it a little bit better with their own implementations to make it stand out more, their own gimmicks to it. One of the gimmicks is I'll talk about it in a few seconds. But if you look at Figure 3 here, it's the same one that we looked up on there before. And there's two Figure 9s. Basically, you're still going to be using the iToy. Hopefully, a newer version, HD camera, and all that other stuff. And hopefully, it's wireless. But hey, wishful thinking and all this other stuff, right? And basically, it's going to show how far you could be away from it while it picks up information. If you look at this thing, it kind of looks like a iPad meets Game Boy, or it's like a retarded sized Game Boy for like your grandmother and shit like that. And I'm not hating or nothing, but if you look at, like, I know you're not supposed to go over patents, but like if you look at like the Wii U patent, it basically looks exactly like the freaking Wii U controller before it even comes out. So if anything, we go off of it just like that. So I mean, I hope that they change this and it looks a little bit more like appealing to the customers. But a lot of people don't want to use a tablet like controller. I don't blame them, but you got to remember we move on and technology improves, and it's like I've said the same thing about like the Vita. It's like back in 2005, 2002 when the DS and all that stuff was out, and people were had like bar phones with basically no internet and no cameras on their phones and all that other stuff. Like the PSP didn't appeal to them. You know, as technology now jumps because of like how Apple started this ripple effect, and as technology jump, people are now changing the way they look at things, and the simple isn't the norm anymore. So like a lot of people are gonna appeal to this, and they're gonna cling to this easily. While we, the hardcore, are just still going to be looking forward to the regular controls and other stuff, which I feel needs to change. Um, but those are my kids in the back. Sorry, guys. But now, if you look at another Figure 9, it looks like Sony is also implementing a camera on this thing so it could pick up movement, kind of like the Kinect. You can go ahead and read these patents. I'm gonna basically put them in the description so you can like take a look at them yourself. And if you look at here, basically what this says right here, it's basically like copying the Wii U itself. If you look at if you look at Microsoft's controller and their patent, you could basically look at and see this is not anything like what it's gonna look like. This is just like a photoshopped ass, like this thing was like patent the shit out of. But if you look at what Xbox World Magazine says, here let me get like a better description where it like took out word for word. Um, they basically say that Microsoft experienced with the tablet controller with a shape closer to a sleek PS Vita handheld slash iPad than Wii U's bulky unit. Basically, it's going to be a thinner version of like the Wii U controller, what looks like a PS Vita. Also, another thing that they're going to implement, like what I was saying first, their own gimmick is HD. So which more than likely it's either going to be 720 or 1080p on the actual controller screen itself, and it's not like it's going to be expensive to do that. If you look at like the ARM 15, the ARM 9 and the ARM 15 based CPUs that they put in controllers and tablets right now, um, it's not going to cost that much. But unlike the Wii U itself, the Wii U has a resolution of 854 by 480. That's 480p, which is just basic HD. It's not even considered HD itself. That's Wii U graphics, and we know that's not HD itself. And I mean, like, but on a smaller screen, it's going to look great. But this is just their way of like implementing their own stuff and adding to it. And this is basically word for word what the uh, Xbox World Magazine basically stated word for word, and this is a credible source, so it's not like this is like some crazy thing, like they just came out the blue and said, and this isn't gonna be how the tablet's gonna look. More than likely, I kind of hope they add buttons to it, but I mean, what can I say? Uh, all these tablets are like going crazy, and everyone's capitalizing on it, and the reason why people are capitalizing on it, let's just go ahead and I'm just gonna say this really quick. And remember back when the Wii came out and Nintendo capitalized on the motion controls, and motion controls became the norm. It became like the best thing since sliced bread, and it was like everything. And it sold when Nintendo capitalized on that, and it was their main thing, and they got all their customers. Sony and Microsoft noticed how many customers Nintendo would gain just because of the control themselves. And when they went ahead and copied and implemented their own kind of like when PlayStation came out with their Move controller, as soon as the Move controller was announced, Nintendo stopped talking about motion controls and started going more to classic controllers. And notice that around that time, if you look at sales numbers, motion controls weren't that big of a thing anymore after Nintendo already capitalized on their customers for motion controls. But when Sony did it, and as soon as Sony did it, Nintendo started talking about classic controls. And if you look at Sony's sales around the same time, Sony's Move controller didn't sell because the world already capitalized on a motion control already. So from what it seems like to me is these guys are basically not gonna play that role next time and see, like, Nintendo started something which is a fashion craze. They're gonna basically jump on it this time. So if that was to be their main selling unit, they all have the same thing. And Xbox is gonna basically use their tablet with Connect and all this other stuff. I don't know how they implement it to work with Connect and all that stuff, but it's going to be an amazing system. And they're basically saying that the system won't cost more than like $500 or anything like that. But from what I'm seeing, a tablet along with a system with HD display and supposed dual 6670s, this thing is not going to be cheap. And if it is cheap, so Microsoft is going to do the Sony thing. It's selling for a loss. And a lot of people feel that companies should do that, but I feel that no one should really do that. If especially want to make money, if you want to make money, we can't all do the Chinese technique, sell for shit, and then when we finally get the market, we raise the prices. But yeah, I mean, like, as much as you guys want to say that it's not, like, they're not copying, all the facts basically stated. Like, and I have another question to say, and which I know a lot of people are gonna hate me for, but if Nintendo did not go the route with the Wii U controller, and remember, like I said, what other route could gaming today go in next gen other than something like this? Being that Reggie already implemented and been hinting a DS-like experience in your home console, and the only one other person close to that was Sony with their PSP when they're trying to do remote play and all that other stuff. But with the whole touch thing, it was always Nintendo, and it was Nintendo implementing this thing for years. They just didn't have the technology to go off of it to make it cheap. But my question is, if Nintendo didn't go with a tablet-like controller and they just went with like a classic controller, and the classic controller was just great with better graphics and all that other stuff, would Sony and Microsoft implement tablet-like controllers for their consoles right now? Would they even thought about that? You know what I'm saying? Would it have happened? And I know some people are gonna say like, we don't know, but it seems to me that and again, I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but Nintendo leads, Sony follows, but that's not a bad thing. That's what innovation is. Um, Innovation is like the biggest thing, and for some people with their stupid quotes saying that systems were a prototype of another, no, if that's the case, every goddamn thing in the world is a prototype of its last thing. No, it is all just technology upgrade from what the last system was or what the last thing is. It's just new technology. If that's the case, then cars after car was a prototype of another car. That's retarded to say. But like, Nintendo started it first, they followed, but again, as technology grows, everybody innovates off of each other. It's not a copy, it's not a prototype or anything like that. It's what's the next gen or the next thing in technology that could be afforded into a console at a cheap price instead of going PC gaming could be done on the next gen system. So again, this is DC 1983. Sorry about the long video. Again, I will leave these in the description along with the, if you haven't seen the Wii U tablet already, or their patents and how it's gonna work. The only thing I haven't seen yet on the PS3 is a front-facing tablet. Like, more than likely they're gonna have something like that for motion controls and all that. But it's gonna be more like the iTour where it picks up the actual like motion caps. But anyways, guys, this is DC 1903, and that's my whole take on this tablet craze. Is it a good thing? Yes, it is. Is it where next gen should be going? Yes, it should. And for all those people that feel that it should just be stick to regular controls, we need to like stop being old and just like get with the norm and just continue to grow. If that was the case, cars should all still be, a fucking big ass Oldsmobile with like metal bodies. You know what I'm saying? Things like that just have to change. You know what I'm saying? Things just change, and we either go with it or we stay behind. But I'm pretty sure, like I said, all the big three is gonna have you let you use your regular motion controls, your classic controls, and all this other stuff. But it's gonna push the tablet controls because why would they invest so much money into something that they're not going to push? Anyways, guys, this is DC 1983. Sorry if I made some of you guys hate me, but sometimes the truth just has to be said, guys. Again, peace out, fellas. Oh, don't forget to subscribe to PLG. Man, you can't hold me.